The year was 1986. America looked to the skies with hope. The Space Shuttle program was a symbol of progress and courage. This mission, STS-51L, was different. It carried Krista McAuliffe, a high school teacher from New Hampshire. She was chosen to teach lessons from space, inspiring millions. Krista became a symbol for teachers and dreamers everywhere. School children followed her journey, preparing projects and learning about space. The mission was about the future, about inspiring the next generation to reach for the stars. On January 28th, excitement filled the air despite the cold Florida morning. Families and classrooms gathered around TVs waiting for history. The Challenger stood ready, gleaming on the launch pad. The countdown began, anticipation rising with every number. This was more than a launch, it was a celebration of human potential. The nation believed in NASA, trusting in the safety and brilliance behind the mission. The astronauts, including Krista, waved to the crowds, confident and ready. The country held its breath, united in pride and expectation. This was America at its most hopeful. A teacher was about to make history, showing the world the power of education and exploration. The moment was set for the history books. The world watched, waiting for a lesson from the stars. The dream was within reach. Behind the excitement, urgent warnings echoed. Engineers at Morton Thiokol, builders of the shuttle's solid rocket boosters, were deeply concerned. The O-rings, crucial rubber seals, had a known weakness in cold weather. That January morning was dangerously cold. Roger Boisjoli, an engineer, had warned for months the O-rings could fail. The night before launch, a tense teleconference unfolded. Engineers urged NASA to delay, presenting data and explaining the risks. The cold could compromise the O-rings, leading to disaster. But pressure to launch was immense. Delays had already stacked up. NASA wanted to stay on schedule to prove reliability. Management questioned the engineers' concerns, pushing back. The data was debated, the risks downplayed. Ultimately, management overruled the engineers. The warnings were set aside, replaced by the drive to proceed. The focus shifted from, is it safe, to prove it's unsafe. Doubt was dismissed and the countdown continued. The engineers' voices faded beneath the roar of expectation. The decision was made, a decision with devastating consequences. The countdown reached 0. Liftoff. Challenger soared. For a moment, everything seemed perfect. The crowd cheered, students watched in awe. The shuttle climbed higher, a symbol of hope streaking across the sky. 73 seconds in, a bright plume appeared near a booster, then a horrific explosion. Challenger disintegrated, debris rained into the Atlantic, the dream shattered in an instant. Cheers turned to stunned silence, disbelief, and horror. The live broadcast meant to capture triumph instead showed tragedy. Teachers struggled to explain the unexplainable to their students. The image of the explosion became seared into the nation's memory. Pride turned to sorrow, exhilaration to grief. The nation watched, helpless as hope fell from the sky. 7 lives were lost, including a teacher who inspired millions. It was a moment that shook America to its core. The silence that followed was filled with questions and loss. The dream had become a nightmare. The lesson was now one of heartbreak. In the aftermath, President Reagan appointed the Rogers Commission to find out what went wrong. The technical cause was clear: the O-ring failed in the cold, just as engineers had warned. Hot gases escaped, leading to the explosion. But the investigation revealed deeper issues, systemic problems within NASA and its contractors. The decision-making process was flawed. Normalization of deviance had set in, small safety violations became routine. O-ring erosion had been seen before, but because previous flights landed safely, the risk was ignored. Confirmation bias played a role. Managers wanted to believe it was safe. Warnings that didn't fit the desired outcome were downplayed. Communication broke down. Engineers' concerns didn't reach top decision-makers. The culture at NASA made it hard to voice dissent, especially if it meant delays. The Challenger disaster was not just a technical failure, it was a failure of management, communication, and listening. Human psychology and organizational pressure led to tragedy. The lessons were painful and clear. The cost of ignoring warnings was catastrophic. The truth had been there all along. The Challenger tragedy forced America to confront the risks of space exploration and the risks of ignoring warnings. It taught us about human nature, organizations, and the importance of listening. The loss was not just a faulty O-ring, but a series of human decisions made under pressure. Normalization of deviance showed how cutting corners can become dangerously routine. The disaster underscored the need for constant vigilance and questioning assumptions. Every warning sign must be taken seriously every time. Roger Boisjoli and the engineers spoke up but were not fully heard. Their story reminds us to create cultures where dissent is encouraged, not silenced. The truth, even when difficult, must always have a voice. Those in power must have the courage to listen. Challenger remains a scar, but also a lesson about the human element in complex systems. True courage is not just launching into space, but saying no when something isn't right. Safety and truth must come first. The 7 astronauts, including the teacher who dreamed of sharing the stars, deserve nothing less. We must remember and heed these hard-won lessons, always. The legacy of Challenger is a call to vigilance, and to never forget the cost of silence.